This is CBC Nova Scotia News.
Terrorism charge. A Halifax man faces a new federal charge over a bomb threat at the U.S. consulate.
Tar spots. A widespread fungus is turning leaves brown early, but without causing lasting damage.
And Midnight Books will tell you why this Lunenburg bookstore stays open late into the night.
It certainly was warmer than normal for much of the province today, but man, oh man, it felt even warmer with that humidity. We'll talk about that, plus take a look ahead to the weekend. Your full forecast is coming up.
Good evening. The man accused of a bomb threat in downtown Halifax is now facing a federal charge that the Crown prosecutor is describing as an alleged act of terrorism.
Ali Azakari was back in Halifax Provincial Court on Wednesday in relation to a threat against the U.S. consulate last week.
As the CBC's Josh Hoffman tells us, it's the first time the court got an up-close look at the 54-year-old accused from Iran.
The man who allegedly threatened to bomb the U.S. consulate arrived in Halifax Provincial Court on Wednesday, facing a new, more serious charge. Ali Azakari was set to appear for a bail hearing on two minor charges laid against him last week, but that was put on pause.
The investigation was led by Halifax Regional Police, and in partnership with the RCMP, we've now laid new information with the Section 424 charge. Which is threatening to commit an offense, which is a bombing of the U.S. Consulate General in Halifax.
The Section 424 charge is threatening an internationally protected person. Under the criminal code, the U.S. Consulate meets the definition of a protected person.
And I will say this is a terrorism offense under the criminal code, and it's defined as a terrorist activity.
Wednesday was actually the first time we got a look at the accused. The 54-year-old from Iran was wearing a gray sweater and gray sweatpants when he was brought into the courtroom. He had a gray beard and gray hair on the sides and back of his head. He stood there holding his hands in front of him and seemed to be in a relatively good mood despite having kept in custody since he was arrested on August 10th. Police took Azakari into custody shortly after they found a suspicious vehicle in the parking garage near the U.S. consulate. His bail hearings have been delayed 4 times now as both the Crown and defense waited for more information to come in. But the Crown prosecution says this latest charge changes how the accused can make bail.
On this information with the federal file, it's a reverse onus situation, so the accused must demonstrate why they should be released from custody. So I think it changes the landscape.
So, as of now, Azakari will remain in custody until at least next week when his case is back in court. Josh Hoffman, CBC News, Halifax.
William Sanderson wants his money back. The convicted murderer is trying to get back money police seized when they arrested him for the murder of Taylor Sampson 11 years ago this week. Sanderson is asking the court to return $5,000 cash and a quantity of Bitcoin that was on a laptop that police took among the evidence they seized when they arrested him. The Crown is opposed to returning the money to Sanderson, saying it amounts to proceeds of crime. A judge has reserved his decision in the case until November. Sanderson is serving a life sentence for second-degree murder in Sampson's death.
The town of New Glasgow's council unanimously passed a motion requesting that the municipality's only shelter close immediately. North Star Shelter and Support Services was renamed last month from Viola's Place after the family of its namesake, Viola Desmond, requested it to do so. For over 4 years, New Glasgow Mayor Nancy Dix says residents and business owners have complained about drug use and theft around the provincially funded shelter. She says it's time for the province to step up.
Look at the opportunity for a transition plan. What does that look like? Well, that falls under the expertise of the province. The province looks after, supportive housing, transitional housing, rehabilitation opportunities. Those are things that the province can act on. So we in no way would want the shelter closed without anything in place. That's not the intention.
The North Star Shelter released a statement criticizing the town's call to close the facility and calling on the town to participate in building solutions rather than creating additional barriers. Meanwhile, the province has not responded to a request for comment.
An unsightly fungus is attacking some tree leaves in the province, making parts of the region look more like mid-October than mid-August. The weather has been a factor, but as Preston Mulligan reports, the infection will have no effect on the health of the trees.
The trees here in Needham Park in North End, Halifax, have been hit with a common fungus that is everywhere this summer. It's called tar spot, and it's making what should be a lush green urban forest brown and brittle.
If I see trees in stress, they'll mostly be Norway maples, and it'll mostly be because of summer weather and the tar spot, which is hyperabundant this year.
Hyper abundant thanks to a wet spring and, with the exception of a rare rainy day like this one, a mostly dry summer. The spores start floating around in the spring just as the leaves are popping out.
If the leaves are wet and warm, then the spores are having a field day as the spores come out of the soil or the leaves where they're lying on the ground. And the air's full of them. They like to latch onto a leaf and start their infection process probably as soon as the leaves are out in May.
The discoloration starts early. In the early summer, the spores will cause less visible yellow spots, and then gradually they'll darken into these unsightly tar spots. The dead leaves fall to the ground, and the spore cycle for next season begins. Raking your backyard can help a few trees, but the spores are everywhere.
You can't clean up every leaf. Here in the woods, we're not going to start raking up the leaves. So there's abundant spores floating around in the springtime. And when it's warm and moist, they love it, and they'll find their host.
As bad as all of this looks in mid-August, this spore doesn't actually do any permanent damage to a stand of trees like this.
But it sure is ugly. You know, people say, well, what can we do? Can we spray? Yeah, you can, but it really is not that effective. So we kind of grin and bear it now.
It's been a worse than normal year for the tar spot, not just in Nova Scotia, but all over the Maritimes and Ontario. Luckily, as fall approaches, the fall colors on the remaining leaves will hide the scars. Preston Mulligan, CBC News, Halifax.
Okay, quick check-in now on the weather forecasters. Jay Scotland.
Yes, and the mugginess continues.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't that hot today. Out of Stanfield, checked the temperature 25 degrees, but you can add 9 to that in terms of what it felt like, 34 with the humidex. That's a significantly high dew point temperature. The humidity is up there just with the recent rain we've had and that southerly wind direction ushering in more humidity. So that humid air, we'll continue to see the isolated shower chance diminishing early this evening, but that could result in some drizzle, some low clouds. So it's not quite rain, but very light precipitation, fog and drizzle with a mostly cloudy sky, just with some low cloud to start the day into the morning. Now, for some areas, you've got a chance of showers developing into the afternoon. I would say for the HRM, late afternoon, evening, very slight scattered shower chance or isolated shower chance late in the day, but much like today, 25 degrees is going to feel well north of 30 with the humidex, so be prepared for a little extra volume in the air.
We'll be ready for it.
Always.
Okay, thanks so much, Jay.
Thanks, Jay.
This is the first week on the job for Halifax's new fire chief. She takes over as the service works to keep up with a growing city. She becomes the first woman to take on the top job. Haley Ryan spoke with her today.
Halifax has a new fire chief after nearly a year of searching and waiting for the right person.
It's an opportunity of a lifetime, quite honestly.
Chief Darren Reetsey takes over the Halifax Regional Fire and Emergency Leadership after a career in Ontario. Most recently, Reetsey was the fire chief and director of Pearson Airport's Fire and Emergency Services in Toronto, and Mississauga chief before that. Reetsey says she was drawn to Halifax because, as a major city, it has special teams for water, urban search and rescue, and hazmat cases.
I feel like I'm at a state of maturity and experience as a leader to be able to walk in here confidently and be able to do the role effectively to ensure, our firefighters are supported the way they need to be supported and our community is safe.
Reetsey takes over as the service faces challenges that come with population growth. She says data and analytics can help improve standards and response times by seeing if members and equipment can be moved around or more are needed. Reetsey is also the first woman to hold the chief's role in Halifax since at least amalgamation in 1996.
I walk into a boardroom, I walk into a conference, I walk into a fire station, I am a fire chief, period.
Reetsey says all firefighters are the same when they put on their bunker gear, but representation does matter.
You want any young girl to take a look at any type of occupation and say, I can do that one day.
The firefighters' union called for a change in leadership last year. They raised concerns about delayed wildfire training, staffing issues, and inappropriate behavior going unaddressed. Union President Brendan Marr says Ritzi brings a reputation as an intelligent and decent person.
I'm confident that if she's given the mandate and the support from executive management in the city, that things are going to change.
After 13 years as a chief officer, Ritzi has written internationally on fire issues and is well known in her field. But Ritzi says she understands that she is an unknown factor for people in Halifax.
So I have to put a lot of time and effort and into being transparent and building credibility so that when there is a complex emergency and I come, on camera with you and I tell you everything's going to be okay, that message is resounding to people, that people feel a sense of confidence not only in my leadership, but obviously in my team.
Haley Ryan, CBC News, Halifax.
Firefighters in Nova Scotia's Annapolis Valley rescued a dog that went over an oceanside cliff on Sunday. The Canning and District Volunteer Fire Department says they were able to find the pooch, named Reese, at Blomidon Provincial Park with a drone. The Kings County Rope Rescue Team, made up of firefighters from surrounding towns, lowered 2 people over the 170-meter cliff to collect Reese and raise him back up. The rescue took about 5 hours, and Reese was reunited with his family.
Well, a used bookstore in Lunenburg is getting more attention for one unique reason. It opens in the evening and doesn't close until customers stop coming, even if that means staying open into the morning.
The shop was recently the subject of a documentary called The Bookstore That Never Sleeps. It made its Canadian premiere at the Regina International Film Festival today. Cassidy Chisholm reports.
While other shops are closing up for the day, this one is just opening.
What time are you guys open till?
At least 11.
11?
Or later. But if there's still people coming in, I will stay open as long as they want, literally. I've been here till sometimes 2 in the morning.
Elizabeth's Books in Lunenburg, Nova Scotia keeps unique hours. It opens in the evening and closes only when the last customer leaves.
I get frequent compliments on the hours, because there's nothing else open. They see the lights on here and they come in, and they're not in any rush. They've got time to look around and chat. So I've met a lot of people from all over the world, and I've had very good conversations with them, which is not something that happens really in the daytime.
One of those people was Justin Zoris, a filmmaker based in Atlantic Canada. He stumbled across the bookstore several years ago after working late one night, beckoned by the light glowing into the street.
You'll never find a bookstore anywhere in the world like this. Chris is such a special individual, and he has so many stories, and you could sit and listen to stories for hours. He also listens to you, so you can come inside and talk about what books you want to read, or maybe you can talk about what's happening in your life.
That connection is what inspired him to make a documentary about Webb's storied life and what led him to the quiet ownership of a late-night bookstore.
The title of the film was The Bookstore That Never Sleeps, so automatically you're thinking, okay, it's a nighttime bookstore, and it's quirky and it's odd, but there's so many layers and so many messages within the film. It covers grief, it covers mental health, it covers the importance of physical spaces.
There are approximately 40,000 books.
The film premiered at the Oscar-qualifying Doc Edge Festival in New Zealand this summer, where it was nominated for Best International Short.
Congratulations with your documentary, I can understand.
Yes. Oh, thank you very much.
While Webb has seen the documentary, he says he won't be going to any public showings.
Well, because I have agoraphobia. That's one of the reasons I open in the evening, because I get uncomfortable if there's too many people in here. I'm happy when there's just 2 or 3 people in here. That's what I like best.
He says he doesn't expect people to flock to his store after seeing the documentary, but for those who do come to visit,
I'm hoping that they will feel that they would be welcome to come in here, and then I would talk to them.
He just wants to be here for the community and the people that walk in, and I think you can't buy that. That's something that you can't replicate. You can't put that in a jar and sell it. There's only one Chris, right? So I think that's what makes the experience very unique and special.
Cassidy Chisholm, CBC News, Halifax.
Wow, that sure is pretty and windy. Martinique Beach. Jay's up next with the weather forecast. We'll see you on the other side of the break. We've got Jay back with his full weather forecast.
Yeah, and the soupy weather continues, Jay.
Yeah, I mean, too warm for soup, but that's what we're dealing with. It wasn't overly hot today, but man, oh man, just with the recent rain we've had, just that southerly wind, just kind of not just bringing in some warmer air, but a lot of humidity. Higher dew point temperatures means that the actual temperature and what it feels like, very big spread between those two numbers. It felt about 8 or 9 degrees above the posted temperature today. We'll be looking at a similar spread tomorrow as well. Do see some improvement Friday into the weekend, but we have some more humidity in the form of maybe some more moderate rain on the way to round out the weekend on Sunday. We'll talk more about that in just a moment. There's a look at our daytime highs across the province today. Generally low to mid-20s. This is above seasonal for a number of spots today, and it just felt so much warmer just because of that thickness in the air with the humidity. Now, that did result in a few isolated showers. That chance for most areas will continue to wind down early this evening. You may see a few showers lingering a bit longer for more northern eastern areas up into Cape Breton. And then that does begin to wind down past midnight as well. Once we see the showers, isolated showers taper off, then we watch for my least favorite precipitation type, and that is drizzle, or just that mist. Even an umbrella doesn't seem to do too much there. But we could be looking at some fog patches and some drizzle to set up later this evening and overnight. Otherwise, most of mainland Nova Scotia, it is just a partly cloudy sky above the province. But what you're seeing here is likely just light drizzle setting up over the bay, down into the South Shore region, into Yarmouth. We'll watch for the fog, the drizzle to potentially work its way into the Halifax area, east through Sheet Harbour, up into Truro, into the morning hours. So it may not be as widespread as what we're seeing here, but certainly could see coastal fog progressing inland, and that could result in some low cloud, reduced visibility to start your Thursday in the morning. Things do look to clear out into the afternoon, but you do see those showers bubbling up, maybe mid to late afternoon for areas just north of Halifax as we look up into Truro, for example. And then as we get late afternoon, early evening, I will put a chance of maybe a sprinkle into the forecast early in the evening for folks in the Halifax area and further east as well, before finally it does start to clear out. Now, as we look into Thursday night through Friday morning, I do see another round of some low clouds, some fog, some drizzle setting in, and then that sky should begin to clear with just a few scattered showers in the forecast. Very isolated for Friday. Most areas should be able to expect more of a mix of sun and cloud, maybe after a foggy start to the day for your Friday. So through the overnight hours tonight, we're going to see those temperatures dipping down to between 16 and 19 degrees across the province. Up above Nova Scotia, we are looking at a partly cloudy sky, so becoming fairly clear up above after midnight, but we will start to see that cloud, that low cloud starting to fill in at the surface. So do watch for those fog patches, even though this doesn't look too notable as we look to the forecast tonight. But you will start to see some low cloud and even some mainly cloudy conditions developing overnight into the morning hours down into Yarmouth. And you will be looking at east to Halifax, east to Sheet Harbour, up into Truro and up towards the Northumberland shore. The potential is there for some drizzle, some mist and some fog in the morning. As we look to the afternoon, I'm going to keep that chance of a shower out of the forecast for much of the day for the Halifax area, back down into Bridgewater, Yarmouth. But as we look north into the valley, Kentville, and east, this is where we are going to look at those showers developing maybe mid-afternoon. These will be very scattered or isolated in nature, and I do see that moving a little bit further south as we get into the early evening hours. So Halifax could see a late-day sprinkle, shouldn't last too long. And temperature-wise tomorrow, anywhere from 25 to as warm as 28 degrees. It could again feel near to well over 30 with the humidex. So much like today, plan on a day that's not too hot, warmer than seasonal to be fair, but it's certainly going to feel much warmer, factoring in that muggy, soupy air that is in place. So as we take a look at your forecast through your Saturday, we will see that chance of showers afternoon through early evening. Not everyone sees it. These are scattered showers developing later in the day on Thursday. Mix of sun and cloud, warmer temperatures, still a little on the muggy side, so I can't rule out slight, but it's there. Very isolated chance of a sprinkle or two on Friday. As we look to Saturday, clouds will be increasing. Temperatures a little cooler. The air's a little drier as well, but those clouds are increasing ahead of some steadier rain. Showers, periods of more moderate rain possible on Sunday. Good chance for those showers, even steadier rain into Monday morning as well, although we will see those temperatures drop. Anytime you've got that much rain, still will be a little damp and humid as we take a look at that long-range outlook. Tom and Amy?
For sure. Okay, thanks, Jay.
Thank you for that, Jay. And we're back after this.
As we mentioned earlier, HRM has a new fire chief, the first woman to hold the role.
Darren Rizzi started this week at Halifax Regional Fire and Emergency. Here is some of her conversation with the CBC's Haley Ryan.
So obviously, as we know, you are the first female chief for Halifax since definitely amalgamation.
Right.
How do you feel just to have that title, have that role?
So I am my fire chief, period, right? I walk into a room, I walk into a boardroom, I walk into a conference, I walk into a fire station, I am a fire chief, period. Much like our firefighters will put on bunker gear, an SCBA, and a face piece and put their lives on the line for members of our community. They are firefighters, period. So I am proud and privileged to be the next fire chief of Halifax Regional Fire and Emergency Service. I am proud to serve alongside our firefighters, and I can say I will be dedicated. I am a passionate person about the fire service, and I care about community safety.
That's great. I think in 2026, I know, whenever women in traditionally male-dominated fields come into positions, like you say, in high positions, it's hard probably to navigate that gender question or things like that. But I'm just wondering, in your career, have you noticed that it is helpful, or it does have any impact? Maybe other women in the fire service see management differently. If you believe that there's any benefit or things about gender,
I do. So there's a saying, you need to see it to believe it. Mm-hmm. So I do think there is a benefit, 100%, right? In terms of young girls being able to see women in these positions, whether they understand the importance, of that achievement or not, I'm not entirely sure. But, you want any young girl to take a look at any type of occupation and say, I can do that one day. So 100% that is important. But in the fire service, because I've been a chief officer for 13 years, I have written in firefighter magazines nationally and internationally. I have been on local, national, and international news. The fire service, in terms of firefighters, I'm not an unknown, but certainly I understand here in Halifax, in regards to the greater community, I am an unknown. So I have to put a lot of time and effort and into being transparent and building credibility, so that when there is a complex emergency and I come on camera with you and I tell you everything's going to be okay, that message is resounding to people, that people feel a sense of confidence not only in my leadership, but obviously in my team. I have come to a team that's very progressive, that's known to be very progressive, operationally sound, tactically strong. Those incident commanders will never change. My role as a fire chief, and I think a lot of people confuse, what does a fire chief do? I'm in an office and a boardroom and behind a computer. My job is governance. It's, policies, SOPs, strategic planning, budgeting, procurement, and the great work that is happening each and every day in the streets in our community by our firefighters will continue. Those incident commanders will continue to be working hard. When you see the fire chief on scene, when I attend on scene, I'm there primarily to provide, support or advice. I'm there, obviously, to message with mayor, members of council, and leadership, and obviously to speak to the media. But the great work that is happening by our firefighters, that is going to continue.
We were talking about respectful workplace and like you say, things like that. I know the union, and you're familiar with their concerns of just, they would like to see a more respectful workplace. They have raised issues and lack of confidence in former management. What would you say about a respectful workplace, working on making sure that Halifax is a non-toxic work environment for everyone?
Right.
Yeah.
So we have an action plan that was created in 2019, right, in terms of education for firefighters in regards to racism, discrimination, inclusion, and basic workplace responsibilities. And then on the management side, how can they build inclusion amongst their teams, and how do they escalate to ensure there is accountability? So that work always needs to continue. In terms of, how do we build on culture? I feel I'm coming in being known as a people leader. I advocate strongly for our firefighters. I engage with our firefighters. I like to lead where the work happens. I feel a little disjointed right now, not working out of a fire station or a training, institute, and I know that's going to change in the new year when we go to our headquarters. And that's not because as a fire chief I want to get into the weeds. I really need to understand the pulse of the organization. And when I'm closer to the firefighters, where I can at least interact with them on a daily basis and have some casual conversations, I think you truly get to understand the pulse of an organization. So I am looking forward to that. So in the interim, what am I doing? I have meetings set up with crews already. I've been able to go to the president's crew for dinner. They took me on a ride along, and I have a number of different visits with crews, both career and volunteer planned. And that's what I really want and need to do, is just to sit down, understand what our firefighters are really proud of, so I can maintain that and help support that, and what are their frustrations, and what steps and action items need to be taken to reduce those frustrations.
Coming up, Trump hits pause on new 50% tariffs, and negotiators on both sides of the border say a trade deal is being finalized.
And Canadian researchers warn Russian propaganda networks are adding fuel to the Alberta separatism debate. Welcome back. It is still to be finalized and signed, but U.S. President Donald Trump says a trade deal has been reached with Canada.
Prime Minister Mark Carney congratulated the negotiators, but has taken a more cautious approach. He says Canada is now moving towards an agreement. Catherine Tunney reports.
A rare sight in Washington. Two top trade officials side by side talking positively about North American trade, suggesting an agreement between Canada and the U.S. to avoid tariffs is within reach.
We feel confident that we've reached an agreement that will not only continue to protect American workers, American jobs, American supply chains, but really strengthen the North American economy and create a situation where North America will continue to be an energy powerhouse, a manufacturing powerhouse, and align on important things like economic security and digital security.
The meeting this morning between Canada U.S. Trade Minister Dominic LeBlanc and U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer came hours after Trump announced he was pausing his promised 50% tariffs on certain Canadian goods, which were scheduled to kick in at midnight, and hinted that a deal was close.
Subject to the finalization of documents, we have a deal with Canada, and I think it's a very good deal for both parties. It's great for our farmers. Our farmers will no longer be held up because they were being hurt very badly by Canada.
Public details are scarce. The president's mention of farmers raises questions about whether there's changes to Canada's supply management system, like how the Canadian government allocates quotas. Minister LeBlanc didn't offer specifics, but says supply management will be upheld.
I am very confident in these discussions, and as we finalize the final text, as Ambassador Greer said, the Prime Minister was very clear. We needed to protect supply management. We needed to ensure that the supply management regime remained entirely intact, and I'm confident that that's the case.
It's now crunch time to reach an agreed-to final document before Saturday, one the U.S. president, notorious for last-minute demands, will sign off on. Catherine Tunney, CBC News, Washington.
Prime Minister Carney spent the afternoon consulting with his cabinet and premiers about the potential deal, and Donald Trump spoke to reporters again about tariffs on Canadian products.
We may bring some of the tariffs down to a level where other countries are, because Canada was paying a higher tariff. Canada was paying us a higher tariff. So we have a very nice relationship with leadership right now, and we'll see. But we did a 3-day pause. It was supposed to be a 50% straight across the board tariff. That was going into effect at 7 o'clock this morning, and I delayed it at the request of Canada for 3 days so we can iron out the details. But it's going to be a wonderful deal, hopefully a wonderful deal for everybody.
A source with knowledge of the agreement said the U.S. tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminum are being lowered from 50% to 25%. Sources also say U.S. tariff rates on Canadian-built cars and trucks could be dropped from the current 25% to 15%.
When Donald Trump announced a potential trade deal with Canada, he also suggested that the Keystone XL pipeline project, abandoned 5 years ago, may be revived. Trump did not say whether it would be part of this new deal. Julia Wong reports.
For years, the cross-border Keystone XL pipeline expansion seemed dead in the water. But as trade talks intensify between Canada and the U.S., Donald Trump suggesting it could come back to life.
Sort of like the zombie pipeline project that will never die.
Late Tuesday, the U.S. president claimed the project, which would carry Canadian bitumen to the Gulf Coast, may be awoken from the grave, and posted this provocative AI-generated photo.
If the U.S. president puts his weight and the weight of his office behind it, it is possible to see this project move forward.
Keystone has a long politically charged history. Former President Barack Obama blocked the project. Then, in his first term, Trump signed an order approving it.
If they'd like, we'll see if we can get that pipeline built.
The Alberta government later invested billions.
The government of Alberta is making a $1.5 billion equity investment in Keystone XL this year,
only to have President Joe Biden cancel a key permit.
This land is your land.
The pipeline has drawn ire from farmers and environmentalists across the U.S. Those who previously opposed Keystone XL say its potential revival is a non-starter.
We have stopped this pipeline 3 times, and we would absolutely stop it for the 4th time if he tried to cross an inch of Nebraska's land.
But this former energy executive says any pipeline is good for Canada, though he worries about uncertainty.
There's always the question, if you commit to any further expansions towards the United States, how vulnerable are they to a future Democratic administration that will just shut the tap off at the border?
In a statement, Alberta Premier Danielle Smith says she's encouraged by the progress in trade negotiations, adding Alberta wants to build pipelines in all directions. Julia Wong, CBC News, Edmonton.
Russia's war with Ukraine is nearing 4.5 years with no end in sight. But now Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is also facing a political crisis. The country's former defense minister is accusing the government of corruption and calling for wartime elections. The CBC's Crystal Gamansing reports.
Slava Ukraini!
Ukrainian politicians confirmed the appointment of the new defense minister. Yevgeny Kamara had been overseeing Ukraine's long-range drone strike campaign on Russia. He was also a part of the country's elite security service and led the famous operation to liberate Snake Island in 2022. In his address to lawmakers, he said Ukraine must gain the advantage on the front line through resourcefulness and professionalism. But many are still talking about the last man to have the job. Democracy cannot be held hostage by Russia, says Mikhailo Fedorov. He posted this video on YouTube Tuesday, reminiscent of President Volodymyr Zelensky's nightly addresses, but with multiple camera angles and music. Since his firing in July, he's been speaking out against the government and what he calls wartime corruption, calling for elections. The president's 5-year term was up 2 years ago, but Ukraine is under martial law. The Constitution prohibits general elections during such extreme periods. Still, people do want government renewal. They also disagree with Fedorov being fired. Many, however, acknowledged at this demonstration that it would be nearly impossible to organize safe elections. In Kherson, 4 people were killed when a drone hit a bus. Officials say it was a first-person view drone, so the operator would have known the bus was carrying civilians. President Zelensky referred to the strike as a safari, Russian drones hunting people. The Ukrainian president has so far not commented on the call for elections to be held by Fedorov. He did, however, fire one of his top aides from the presidential office as anti-corruption agencies launched raids connected to a $3 million money laundering scheme. Crystal Gamansing, CBC News, London.
Canadian researchers are warning that foreign entities are trying to influence the public debate over Alberta separatism. As the CBC's Brian Labby reports, Russians and Americans are spreading divisive messages online.
They're seceding and creating an independent state.
Foreign actors inserting themselves in Alberta's separatism debate.
But if ever there was a people that needed liberation from a government that hates them, it's the Canadians, of course.
Overt examples of U.S. right-wing influencers weighing in. Also, an alleged covert campaign uncovered by Canadian researchers using AI. They found websites linked to Russian operators spreading misinformation.
We're talking of thousands of articles every week.
Content that can spread on Canadian social media, often without users knowing where it came from. Some recurring narratives, a rigged referendum, Ottawa's deliberate exploitation of Alberta's resources. Separation is the only solution to resolve Albertans' grievances.
Some of them are very closely aligned to the Russian government, like RT, but then there are a number of proxies that are been described by the State Department and our Global Affairs as active agents or basically mouthpieces for the Russian government.
Canada's new Foreign Influence Transparency Commissioner has promised more transparency around outside influencers.
Will we be asking Americans, our erstwhile allies, to be part of that foreign influence registry?
Of course. Yes, we would be asking them. One Canadian disinformation expert says Canada's spy agency should do more, and so too should politicians.
The Canadian government can, number one, focus on further pressuring social media sites to moderate the type of misinformation happening and targeting Canadians.
In a statement to CBC News, CSIS says any instance where a foreign state actor or proxy might seek to use covert or obfuscated means to divide Canadians, amplify false narratives, or deceptively interfere in domestic political processes would be of concern, and CSIS would investigate. That said, Canada's spy agency wouldn't confirm any investigation details. What is certain, Albertans will go to the polls in October. That's when voters will decide whether to take the province one step closer to a binding vote on separation. Brian Labby, CBC News, Calgary.
You've probably noticed that the price of beef is going up, but in some stores there are still deals on offer. The CBC's Alex Kozrowski looks at one choice shoppers are facing: buy Canadian beef or go for the inexpensive cut, all the way from Australia.
Visit any superstore, No Frills, or independent grocer in Saskatchewan, and you'll now find beef from Australia on the shelves. You'll also find it's nearly half the price of Canadian beef. Loblaws, which owns the grocery outlet, has added the meat as another option for consumers, but it's putting customers in a tough spot. Buy cheap or buy Canadian?
Well, I think it makes sense if the price is so high that people are going to look to something cheaper. I mean, certainly it's not the sustainable options.
Last time I tasted beef other than ground beef was probably 2 Christmases ago.
Would I consider? Probably not, but we'll see. At some point I may taste it and see. It's hard to believe they can ship it all the way and it'd be a lot cheaper.
Loblaws says it remains committed to supporting Canadian beef producers while providing its customers with choice and value. The head of the Canadian Cattle Association says international beef on the shelf doesn't hurt local producers, as their feeding methods make for a different product.
The result is really a product that is leaner, doesn't tend to have quite the same marbling, and therefore isn't as preferred in Canada as compared to the Canadian produced beef.
Fulton says thanks to the Trans-Pacific Partnership, Australian exported beef is filling a void here, while Canadian products do better in markets like Japan and Vietnam. But he also thinks the low price of Australian meat in Loblaws grocery stores could hurt the retailer.
The other likely big factor here is that retailers will use a lost leader tactic, where they will, drop the price of a certain product even below what it costs for them to bring it in.
And he says that could cost Loblaws money in the end. But for the average grocery shopper, quality and cost will stay in consideration when they get to the meat section.
Beef is definitely a luxury. So if any of our friends want to invite us over for a steak, I'll bring a salad.
Alex Kozrowski, CBC News, Regina.
Canada's main stock index edged higher today amid U.S. tariff uncertainty. Here's a quick look now at the numbers as we head to commercial break.
we are back to wrap things up, and it sounds like a bit of more of the same for the weather tomorrow.
The Friday or Saturday, that's looking more like we like it, isn't it?
Yeah, we finally see a bit more in the way of sunshine, some drier air starting to build in through Saturday as well. That should take a dip in that terms of that humidex that we have been contending with. But yeah, really have been in a holding pattern the last few days. Muggy, not hot, but certainly feeling a lot warmer. And then we've had showers, drizzle, unsettled conditions as a result. And those fog patches in the morning, not always too pleasant as well. It was a warm one today, to be fair. It was above seasonal for those afternoon temperatures, but it felt much warmer with that muggy air in place. And that will be the case again tomorrow. We'll see that slight scattered shower chance diminishing for the Halifax area early this evening. Does linger as we look to eastern areas up into Cape Breton into the evening hours a bit longer. Should taper off after midnight. What we're seeing down towards Yarmouth and through the valley, that's actually drizzle, and that's related to the fog that will start in coastal areas and then start to build in through the morning hours to inland areas. Does clear up towards the late morning. I do see a few scattered showers developing in the afternoon, and we may see them into the Halifax area as we look to the early evening hours, but nothing too heavy, nothing lasting too long. Taking a look at the latest guidance. So mainly cloudy to start the day, fog, low cloud, possibly some drizzle. It's not rain, but it is. It still makes things damp and wet. As we look towards the noon hour, I still do expect some low cloud to be lingering as that fog will gradually be lifting through the morning hours. 22 degrees is going to feel about 28. Factoring in the humidex by the time we get to the noon hour, and up to 25, 26 into the Halifax area, feeling into the low to near mid-30s with the humidex. But we do see that sky clearing through the afternoon. I do think after 4 o'clock, though, into the early evening, there will be that chance of a few scattered showers, but nothing to put too big of a damper on your Thursday.
All right.
Amy?
Okay. We'll take it. Thanks so much, Jay.
Thank you, Jay.
You got it.
Well, some young PEI fencers got a chance to learn from the best this week.
Olympic bronze medalist Eleanor Harvey is on the island, and she gave some pointers to some younger athletes. Check it out.
Hi, it's Eleanor Harvey. We're in Charlottetown, and we're doing a fencing camp. You have to rely on executing the movement perfectly. I've been fencing for 21 years now. I've been to 3 Olympics, and something that I really wanted growing up was some older athletes that were able to share their experiences so that there's more of an understanding of the path to getting to the level that I wanted to be at.
She's the first Canadian to win an Olympic medal, which is really a tremendous achievement. And so basically, we want to show people here is something that can be repeated.
Fencing is so fun because it's a sport where there's a lot of technique and there's a lot of physical ability, but it's also a form of self-expression. So every single fencer has their own unique style. They have their own specific things that they're really, really good at. So if you're a competitive person and you really, really enjoy that one-on-one type of sport, anyone can be a good fencer if you find the things that you're really, really good at. There is a big range of kids, so I've been trying to keep the exercises pretty simple. But I want to also do the type of thing and give feedback that even if you're a little bit more experienced, that maybe they've been able to try something in a bit of a different way.
I've heard a lot about Eleanor, and I've always wanted to meet her, so it's really cool to be here today and having her teaching us.
I find it really useful. We usually don't have any female coaches. I feel really honored to have her here and be able to learn from her.
Hopefully, something that the kids here will get out of that is seeing and understanding the type of mentality and the type of training that it takes to get to a higher level. For the next 2 years, coaching, fencing, and trying to be at the best that I can be physically, mentally, emotionally, all of that leading into the LA Olympics.
Great stuff. And check out this catch at a minor league baseball game in North Carolina.
Hey, how about the catch?
Did that just happen?
Yeah, a baby and
Holding
stroller.
the stroller with the
one
baby
hand.
inside. What?
One hand.
What?
One hand.
That dad appears to be texting someone about the feat. We want to show it again. The dad catches a foul ball with one hand while pushing a stroller with the other hand.
It happened earlier this month. The video is now going viral, and he's got a pretty good souvenir for his baby.
Way to go, Dad. That's it for us tonight. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Good night.